The first Prime Minister's Questions of 2025 has been launched with a thunderous and emotionally charged debate. The call for a national inquiry into grooming gangs was a central plank of this debate, and it's a tale of political chess, of course, political outrage, social media chaos, with Elon Musk playing an unexpected and disruptive role. I believe he's now posted 200 Twitter messages about the subject. The renewed focus on grooming gangs, particularly those involving predominantly British Pakistani perpetrators, has been stoked, therefore, by Elon Musk. And his posts accuse Sir Keir Starmer of complicity in hiding the truth, and it's fueled demands for this new inquiry. And Musk, ever provocative, claimed that justice for hundreds of thousands of victims remains elusive. Well, he could say the same thing about the post office sub-postmasters and sub-postmistresses. His disinformation and his high-profile agitation inevitably blend into the Commons debate, turning a deeply serious issue into a surreal collision of policy and populism. Kemi Badenoch, the Conservative leader, seized on the moment to demand a new national inquiry. Her claim that previous investigations, including the 7-year-old Alexis J inquiry, failed to join the dots and uncover the full scale of grooming gang crimes. And she declared this to be one of the worst scandals in British history and alleged that the crimes are almost certainly still happening. However, Badenoch's sudden interest drew fire, and Keir Starmer countered that she had not raised the issue once during her 8 years in government, a critique bolstered by Hansard records that shows no previous mentions by Badenoch of the grooming gangs, despite her bluster, her defence that as a Minister for Women and Equality she focused on other issues. It rang hollow, because basically she hasn't done her preparation, she hasn't asked the questions that she should have asked. Her call for leadership, not lawyering, was more soundbite than substance. Now, of course, you could say that when Keir Starmer challenged her to say, what was he wrong? Had she not actually? Is it true that she hadn't addressed this issue before? He wasn't wrong, and it wasn't really Badenoch's job to reply to a question from the Prime Minister. It's in the title of the Wednesday meetings, Prime Minister's questions, not Leader of the Opposition's questions. However, that was a brilliant piece of Starmer countering, and that is the sort of thing that Starmer, of course, is very good at. Starmer is a seasoned barrister, and we saw today, for the first time really in Prime Minister's questions, Starmer at his best doing his job well. We also saw Kemi Badenoch. She's not going to get any better, is she? No matter how much she's prepared, no matter how well somebody writes her script, she is still limp, lifeless, and ill-suited to the job she's got. And she certainly doesn't know how to counter a senior barrister who knows that he's got who knows that he's making a mark. And Starmer responded with 3 key arguments. Number 1, he emphasised that the survivor groups remain divided and some want swift implementation of existing recommendations rather than another inquiry that could drag on for years, and that he should listen to the victims' voices. He's right about that. And I don't think it's one or the other. I think the existing recommendation should be implemented, and maybe there should be a further inquiry. But the problem with an inquiry in Britain is it stops anything else. And that's what we've seen with the inquiry into Horizon, with the Windrush, with the Grenfell. It just stops the compensation and the real help. And it's kicking the can down the road. And we need to stop kicking and start acting. He also makes the reasonable point that we should have action rather than more rhetoric, and he's highlighted Labour's current child protection initiatives, including the mandatory reporting laws. He accuses Badenoch of jeopardising these measures by tying them to an amendment on grooming gangs that would derail the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill. He's right about that, and but Badenoch is ill-placed because, again, there's an opportunity to enrich these bills which are going through. She hasn't taken that. Instead, she's messing around. The bills which are going through are not enough. We need more. As Director of Public Prosecutions, finally, Keir Starmer says that he had implemented new guidelines to ensure victims were believed, unlike Badenoch, who had jumped on the bandwagon after years of silence. Despite Badenoch's initial restraint, the debate descended into accusations. She suggested that Starmer's resistance to the new inquiry could provoke accusations of a cover-up, but claimed Labour MPs might have been complicit in historical failures to act. This was bold and risky, given the Conservatives' own questionable record of action during this period on grooming gangs. Meanwhile, Reform UK, buoyed by Musk's tweets, pledged their support for the Conservative amendment, further illustrating how the issue has become a political weapon. Yet within Tory ranks, questions are lingering about Badenoch's sincerity, with critics pointing out her lack of prior engagement. Starmer was right, and Musk's claims have added a bizarre, almost conspiratorial layer to the debate. While some welcomed the spotlight his tweets have brought to the issue, others, like Jess Phillips, have argued that such interventions distract from the meaningful discussion on safeguarding. Ultimately, this debate raises uncomfortable questions about leadership, and Starmer may lack charisma, but he demonstrated consistency in focusing on actionable policy. And Badenoch, on the other hand, risks appearing opportunistic, ill-prepared, prioritising short-term political gains over meaningful solutions. In other words, it looks as if Badenoch's preparation is simply reading through her Twitter pages. That's not the job of an opposition leader. That's the job of somebody who's whiling away the hours with nothing better to do. I expect the opposition leader to be focused on her job, not focused on her phone. The grooming gang scandal is a harrowing issue demanding careful, victim-centred responses. And amid this noise of amendments and accusations and Elon Musk's digital megaphone, one has to wonder, is Parliament losing sight of its primary responsibility to ensure justice, to prevent further tragedies, and to focus on making life better now? It seems to me that Starmer and Badenoch and Ed Davey and Farage are more interested in the next election rather than getting on with the job that they've been elected to do.